Welcome everyone to Metabolic Studio. My name is Millie Mason-Moore and this is my colleague Diego Zapata. Metabolic Studio recognizes that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tongva, Gabrielino, Quiche, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to the elders and descendants, past, present, and emerging, as they continue their stewardship of these lands and waters. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in land seizure, disease, subjugation, slavery, relocation, broken promises, genocide, and multi-generational trauma. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation, and to elevate the stories, culture, and community of Los Angeles original inhabitants. We are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on these ancestral lands. We are also dedicated to sustaining and growing relationships with Native peoples and local tribal governments. We would love to welcome Marcos Aguilar from Anawakalmekak.
I want to thank you all for the invitation to us to be here present with you on this important day, to remember the rebirth of the lands of Tovangar through these fires and of so many communities, and the suffering that people and animals and the entire ecosystem felt in those days and those times. But we do that remembering that these times have come before, that our calendars show that these are cycles, without ignoring the concern that we have that this tragedy, that this crisis was man-made, was corporate-made, was made by government, was made by colonization. I'd like to ask you to help me recognize the four corners and the center of the universe and the center of the earth, so that we can start our day on this beautiful space next to the river. Pues le doy las gracias por la invitación a Metabolic, a Lauren, a Millie. Quisiera tomar el momento de recordar el inicio de este día, recordando también que en tiempos pasados, desde tiempos ancestrales inmemoriales, se han vivido crisis y cataclismos que se sentían en ese tiempo insuperables, pero que tenemos la historia de que sí lo superó la gente, sí, los antepasados sí sobrevivieron. Aún así no olvidamos de que esta crisis que se causó, que estamos recordando hoy, que son de los incendios y tantos más que ocurrieron después de eso, que también tienen sus orígenes falsos, vamos a decir, que vienen de la explotación, vienen de la colonización, vienen por manos de quienes quieren expropiarse de lo que nos da vida y privatizarlo. Y no olvidamos de eso tampoco, porque entonces eso nos toca y nos implica cierta obligación, cierta responsabilidad de ahora qué hacemos. Pues parte del qué hacemos es reconocer dónde estamos, y nuestra forma de hacerlo en la tradición de Anawakalmekak y nuestra tradición náhuatl es de reconocer a las cuatro rumbos, los cuatro vientos, y reconocer el corazón del cerro, el corazón del cielo y el corazón de la madre tierra también. Entonces vamos a iniciar con eso. Amantimo capaz que quizá entonarle. Ilhuicampa, Taltipacampa, Quisayan Tonajle, Calaquian Tonajle, Miclampa, Huizlampa, Tonaca Tecotzintle, Tonaca Cihuatzintle, Ome Tecotzintle, Panse Xitle, Panse Mestle, Panse Tonajle, Tame Tlazo, Camichiliste, Tohuehuete, Bantolamate, Nicanchanete, Tongua, Gabrielino, Shoshoni, Kish, Shumash. We give thanks to the guardians of this land, the original peoples of this land, for the relationships that they have tended to and continue to tend to. We honor in particular Chief Vera Rocha, Nick Rocha, Gabriel Rocha, for the traditional guardianship that they provide to Anawakalmekak. We too here as Nawa peoples have an ancestral tie to these lands, and our umbilicals are in these lands as well. Our ancestral stories, our ancestors walked through these lands, our seeds are carried through here, and we recognize them as well. But we give thanks and humbly present ourselves today with the fire that's going to be lighted, and ask for guidance, ask for an opportunity to let go of what may be blocking us, and ask for forgiveness so that we can re-strengthen our relationships to each other, our relationships to our Mother Earth, our relationships to our Father Son, our relationships to the guardians of the fire, the old fire and the new fire. There's no good fire and there's no bad fire. There's only an old fire and a new fire. And within that, we survive. We need the old fire because that's what keeps the universe moving. And we need the new fire because that's what feeds us. That's what gives us life. That's what gives us warmth. And that's what gives us that center place to be able to be here among our community. All the troubles that are coming, none of that can move the mountains. None of that can end the oceans. None of that can end the rivers. None of that can end the winds or stop the winds. Oh, those are the immortals. Those are the ancestors. Those are the ancient ones that will continue. And we give thanks to the life that they give us. Our role here as guardians, as protectors, as the stewards, as the different roles that we may have, as the guests, as the relatives on this land. We have to think deep within ourselves what was burnt and what was lost and what was taken from us, and whether or not what stayed is what truly matters. Feel free to stand up. Kenchal Chotika, Kenchal Chotika, Onse Tseliwi, Kenchal Chotika, Kenchal Chotika, Kenchal Chotika, Onse Tseliwi, Pipi Shawi, None Apanalsi, Pipi Shawi, None Apanalsi, Amosanen Kashiye, Amosanen Kashiye, Amosanen Kashiye, Topirwan, Amosanen Kashiye, Amosanen Kashiye. Trabajamos de ese canto que tiene más de 500 años, el canto como poesía ancestral de los cantares mexicanos, y lo trabajamos de todos los cantos que existen, que no son, que digamos, tampoco millones, pero son muchos, y lo trabajamos aquí con Lauren, con el equipo de Mili, con los compañeros que están aquí en este lugar, con los niños y con nuestros maestros nahuas también de Coentepec y de Morelos y de Guerrero, para entender guardar más bien esa enseñanza de Atequiliscuicat que canta de que cuando se nos ponen barreras tenemos que ser como agua, porque así fue como pudo sobrevivir la gente en Tenochtitlan después de la invasión. Entonces seamos como agua hoy, agradecemos el espacio que se ha abierto aquí, aunque seamos pocos, yo sé que estamos los que tienen que estar. Y el hecho de que se haga ese acto de presencia constante aquí en Metabolic no es cualquier cosa, porque se está guardando un lugar especial al lado del río, se está guardando un lugar especial ante este pozo que se ha protegido, y con la visión que se está compartiendo de que el agua es de todos y no es de nadie. Que el agua es para que sobrevivamos, pero también tiene su derecho de vivir, y apreciamos eso también.
Thanks. My name is Alma, Cielo, and I'm a firebird. So I lived in the community of Altadena, and we lost our home, like so many others. And so, even though I can say I am so grateful for the changes that have come in my life in this year since the fire, but I know that so many other people are really hurting, not feeling safe, not knowing where home is, not knowing how long it will take to rebuild. And so I want to hold that today in this song, in this improvisation that I offer to you, and thank you for holding strength for us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for giving your spirit here. Thank you to Metabolic and all who steward this land.
Noni. I'm obviously having a baby soon.
Yay!
Was really our family was impacted by the fires as well. We spent the last year really building with Dina Soil Project and organization Jessica and I have called Community Compound. So we came together for this event just to welcome everyone. Really wanted to hold space.
Just want to say thank you for being willing to come and gather today in honor of community, love, healing, celebration, renewal. Many of our community members were deeply impacted. Dina, Palisades, Malibu, and beyond. It was a ripple effect.
We want to welcome you today to share your story in any way that you want to. We know that when we share our stories, we're healing ourselves and we're healing each other. We become more connected to one another. We're going to share our stories around the fire, and there are other places where you can share your stories. Just talk to us about it.
And there's an opportunity to work with natural material, with clay that comes from the earth. An opportunity to express through your hands what you're feeling. And we will collectively make an art piece from the work that we make together.
If you want to record your story on video or record your story on audio, there's different places to do so.
Really just be present, and connect with each other, connect with yourself. If you want to find time to just be still in the space and reflect, you're welcome to do that as well. And lastly, we have an area for you to reflect and express yourself through written or artistic form. There's paper and pens to write a letter for yourself, to gift, or to put in the fire as a release. So thank you again for being here. We're here to support your time here and beautiful partnership with Metabolic. Thank you again.
Not easy to start a fire. Not easy. But what we burn matters too. So I'll hand this off to everybody else. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here with you. And we pray that many blessings come to you. That all those offerings that you gave up in that fire, that they come back to you in a good way, to your families, to your community, to the community, and to the earth in a good way. Please go ahead and make your own offering.
Thank you.
I'm Leigh Adams, an Altadena resident who is living outside of Altadena until my home is rebuilt. I lived in Altadena for 31 years, raised my children there, grew my gardens, and created masses and masses of artwork. Those masses of artwork, those beautiful magazine bright gardens burnt down on January 7th a year ago. My commitment to Altadena is that I will rebuild. And despite what I see being rebuilt, the first homes are all large, oversized, contractor-owned homes, because that's who's able to make it through the paperwork and the shortages and the labor needs. So we are rebuilding, but we're rebuilding with a totally different look. I intend to rebuild my home as homage to the beautiful mountains, gardens, and trees that were there and that we lost. I will rebuild my home for myself and my neighbors, and I will paint it or have my dear friend paint it to look like the mountains and the trees and the things that belong there that have been covered in concrete or bulldozed. I love Altadena. I miss our trees. I will be planting trees till the end of my life to attempt to restore some of the canopy that we had, to support some of the wildlife that we had. And we still do have. I have a mountain lion visiting me regularly, and the bear definitely is there eating trash various contractors leave behind. There's a skunk who visits and eats. There are possums and even a fox. So I'm really excited to see the return of the native wildlife, and I know it won't survive the rebuilding efforts. So my rebuilding efforts will include as much of that as I can. Support for those animals, water for them to drink, oak trees that provide food and shelter and habitat. And I will include as many of my community in that vision as I can. And I will share my work with bioremediation with the community. People are now learning that they can use nature to restore the land, and they're learning to listen to what the land is saying. Why are those fire follower plants growing? And yes, they're growing all over the place. The seed was there already. Now it's being supported by the land to return and clean up the mess that humans have made. What else can we learn from the land? That immediately the native plants have come back bigger and more beautiful than ever. Wow, they co-evolved with fire. We could learn that. We could learn to restore our land with native plants, supporting habitat and environment, and bioremediating at the same time. We can share that information with as many people as possible, and hopefully Altadena does regrow, does refloresce into the beautiful, art-loving, enveloping, warm, supportive community that it has always been for artists, others, and people who care about their community.
I'm Tom Harding. Have been an Altadena resident, or was an Altadena resident for about 30 years. And my story of the fire is really about the people who made us feel at home when we were no longer at home. We had to stay at the Doubletree Hotel in Monrovia. Our story is that when the winds picked up, we're in West Altadena, and when the winds picked up, we decided we would evacuate because we thought probably it was going to be a really windy night and that we would get an evacuation order in the middle of the night, so we would be too stressed out to sleep already, and then we would have to leave in the middle of the night. So at about 7:30, we decided we were going to go stay at the Doubletree Hotel because we had some points to use with the Hilton. And we headed out in the direction heading east, and we went about half a block, and suddenly we could see flames over the tops of the trees, and we thought, okay, this is not what we had in mind. So we turned back around, and we got to Lake Avenue, we were thinking we were leaving early because we're in West Altadena. Well, East Altadena had already gotten an evacuation notice, unlike West Altadena. So all of East Altadena was leaving, and Lake Avenue was a parking lot from the 210 freeway all the way to the top of the hill. There was not a car moving, it was jammed. And we just thought, what is going on here? Because of course we had no idea. And so since I happened to travel side streets anyway, I crossed over Lake Avenue my wife and I went side streets all the way, and it was completely dark. There was no power, and everybody had put out, it was the 6th, well, it was the 7th, just after the 6th Epiphany, so everybody had taken their old Christmas trees and had put them out on the side of the road for the garbage company to pick up. So there were branches falling, and there were Christmas trees blowing everywhere like tumbleweeds. It was crazy. It was like a video game nightmare. And so anyway, we made it to the DoubleTree Hotel. And for the next 3 months, most of the next 3 months, the DoubleTree Hotel was our home. And I just have to say, hi Train. I just have to say that the staff at the DoubleTree Hotel were so incredible at making us feel at home. We got to know the breakfast staff, wonderful Alan, whose children were going to a Japanese language school in Montrose, Grumpy George, the whole staff, and Alan's wife made us Japanese milk bread and brought it to us while we were there. Eduardo, another staff at the front desk, his mother made us a dessert homemade from home and brought it to us because we had given him some chocolates to give to her. And just for the whole time we were there, they made us feel so welcome, so at home. You know, what an unlikely occurrence to be staying at what you would think would be a sort of an impersonal hotel setting, and to get all of this love from the staff there who we were seeing every day. So my shout out is to the staff of the DoubleTree Hotel. Became our home away from home, and we're forever grateful to them.
Tlaquilten Namonostin, Itoka Marcos Aguilar. Here in Metabolic Studios in El Bosquecito, they call it El Bosque. We just learned the story about the origin of these plants, and looking forward to hearing that story again soon. We're here to commemorate the anniversary of the conflagrations of Los Angeles of 2025. I think we came to an understanding of that season of fires, of that firestorm, slowly over the years, as we've learned to connect the new understanding about climate change, the critical understanding about the climate crisis, and the insights of the origins of the climate crisis in colonization, and that relationship to us as people, as nations, as a part of the ecosystems. One of the things that our students and community had worked on with the tribal leadership of the Gabrielino Shoshone Nation at Chifiana Village before the fires was to try to gather enough tule to build one tule house, a key. And the nation hadn't built a house for 30 years. So this is the first time they were going to build a full-size house as well. And the elders gathered to do that. We harvested tule from the only places that we could still find tule, which is a wetlands grass here in Los Angeles. And the only place in the city of Los Angeles is actually growing enough of it is in the La Brea tar pits in an artificial lake that all used to be wetlands there in that whole area. And all those wetlands are gone. And the remaining wetlands that may be on the coastal areas or around river zones, they're all under concrete or they're under threat. So we were barely able to harvest enough tule to build one key. And we had just finished the key when the winds came and the fires came and they blew everything off. And you know, kind of like that story of the wolf blowing the straw house down. Well, our little house got blown over as well. And in many ways, that experience taught us a lesson about the fires while we were looking for the wetlands, because with the wetlands gone in this territory, the fires we know are that much more dangerous to people living here because things are out of balance. So the lessons that we learned from the wetlands prepared us in a way to understand why the fires were taking place. And it wasn't a mystery to anybody. I think the challenges that we were facing was how society was being confronted by that, by those firestorms, and in ways that we couldn't even know really how to deal with. We didn't know what we were breathing those days in the ash that continued for weeks. And you know, for the first time ever, we have mass burnings of lithium batteries, house batteries, car batteries, all kinds of batteries that are, you know, now in the air, in the atmosphere, and that we were all living around and trying to quickly get back to normal, while at the same time wanting to give respect and pause to the crisis and to the trauma that had imposed on so many families and the deaths, not just on people but on ecosystems. Organizing our way out of it was a way of dealing with that trauma, and we participated with Lauren and Metabolic and Patrice Colors and organizing a petition to call for what it would need in Los Angeles to organize for resilience, and we didn't want to just address the fires themselves. There were many people trying to address the human tragedies, and many people also concerned about the environmental tragedies. But we were looking at policy, and one of the most important policy proposals that's still on the table that hasn't been acted on is land back as a policy proposal and as a moral compass in a way, because that calls to action healing the relationships between indigenous peoples as original peoples and as caretakers and as stewards in the ecosystem in a way that would change the dynamics of the relationship between society and the environment. And so I would say we're still working on that. We're still working towards a vision of rematriation and understanding its role in both healing human trauma as well as ecosystem and traumas caused by humans on the ecosystem. And so we're thoughtful of that, and all the lives lost, all the tragedies that everybody has had to overcome over the last year, and are appreciative of being able to be in good company and good community today. Thank you very much.
Buenas tardes. Nosotros formamos parte del grupo Ndlon. Trabajamos con Angie en Ariel, Fire and Puppies, trabajando en la reconstrucción de Altadena, Pasadena y Palizales. Somos un grupo de 35 personas de 7 diferentes nacionalidades que estuvimos trabajando desde el primer día de enero. Ahora cumplimos un año y estamos aquí para celebrar el acontecimiento de nosotros. Logramos limpiar en 8 meses 154 casas de gente que no fue escuchada por el gobierno o por su aseguranza, o porque eran gente de mayor edad, o porque eran gente latina o negra. Nosotros pudimos trabajar con ellos y estamos muy orgullosos de pertenecer a este grupo que pudimos ayudar a no más fueron 154 casas, sino 154 familias que les pudimos dar la oportunidad de poder regresar y sentirte seguros al vivir en su casa porque estaban contaminadas. Nosotros tuvimos un entrenamiento que se tomó tiempo para que pudiéramos saber lo que íbamos a hacer, que teníamos que ayudar para que estas personas, esas familias, pudieran tener acceso a su casa. Estoy muy orgulloso de que tenemos tanto hombres como mujeres de diferentes países como es Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Cuba, ahorita vamos a hacer participar cada uno de los compañeros que podemos venir este día. Aquí tenemos mi compañía.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Mi nombre es Leticia. Pues como lo mencionó el compañero Ricardo, formamos parte de este proyecto, ver realmente cómo quedó la ciudad después de la tragedia, llegar y apoyar después de que la ciudad no se hizo presente. Una de las cosas con las que yo en lo personal me quedo es la humanidad que tuvimos todos, el compañerismo, por apoyar. Aquí no importaba raza, color, o sea, lo único que nos ha hecho fuerte es la solidaridad con todas estas personas e ir a sus casas, trabajar arduamente, transformar esos hogares. Wow, es maravilloso. Luego las personas cuando regresaban a sus hogares y veían toda la transformación, lloraban, no podían creer que después de todo hubiese una transformación espectacular. Me quedo con ello. También aquí algo con lo que me quedo y con lo que me llevo es la familia que de una u otra forma formamos. Entonces seguimos apoyando. Hoy, como lo dije desde un inicio, ya se hizo el año, vienen nuevos proyectos ahorita para trabajar sobre la tierra, y algo que me gustaría, o sea, a mí en lo personal, formar parte de este proyecto, porque el solo hecho de estar en contacto con la tierra libera energías negativas que traemos. Entonces es algo muy bonito, y como lo dije, se sigue fortaleciendo el compañerismo. Ahora voy a pasar aquí el micrófono a mi compañera Dilcia y ella les va a hablar un poquito más.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Dilcia Barahona. Mi historia pues es muy corta. Yo llegué aquí a Pasadena en noviembre del año pasado. Llegué con el frío, pues no salía, pues no conocía. En noviembre y ya en enero fueron los incendios. Tampoco salí, sí salí evacuada porque estuve cerca de uno de los incendios, pero cuando yo llegué a Ndlon en busca de trabajo, entonces ahí es mi experiencia para la brigada donde yo trabajé 5 o 6 meses, donde ayudamos a muchas personas de las cuales no se les quemaron sus casas, pero sí tenían afectados por el humo, las cenizas, el plomo. Y fue una muy bonita experiencia y la satisfacción de ver las personas a quienes nosotros le hicimos sus casas, muy satisfechas porque sus casas fueron descontaminadas por nosotros, por la brigada.
¿Se costaron un dinero a ellos?
Sí, eso le costaba mucho dinero a ellos y pues las aseguranzas no respondieron y nosotros pues fuimos de voluntarios a ayudarles a ellos a que pudieran limpiar sus casas. O sea, nosotros hicimos ese trabajo y más los incendios y luego vienen las redadas de migración y todo eso, pues yo sí me he visto afectada porque he tenido cortes con el juez. De hecho, hoy en la mañana estuve en mi tercer corte con el juez y gracias a Dios aquí estoy. No me dio mucha extensión, pero que sea lo que Dios quiera y confiando en Dios, pues queremos seguir ayudando a personas que todavía no han recibido ayuda y nosotros pues estamos aquí para poderles seguir ayudando a ellos. Gracias. Mi compañera María.
Buenas tardes, yo soy María Zamorano. Yo fui entrenada por la señora Angie en un grupo junto con mis compañeros para poder dar el apoyo a las personas necesitadas. Como dicen las compañeras, pues hicimos en Pasadena y trabajamos también para Palisades. Y yo me llevo y estoy bien orgullosa de que la gente era tan agradecida, nos aplaudía y nos llamaba ángeles, nos llamaba héroes. Fue una conmoción para todos, fue mucha tristeza y sentimientos encontrados, porque ya hace un año y pues uno tiene su corazón todavía bien apachurrado, aunque no fue afectada porque no se quemó mi casa, pero fue afectada porque me quedé sin trabajo. Y agradecida a la vez, y como dice mi camisa, solo el pueblo salva al pueblo. Solo el pueblo
salva al pueblo.
Sí, gracias. Ahí va un compañero.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Eduardo Sinay, soy de descendencia guatemalteca. Me siento muy orgulloso de esta entrevista el día de hoy y ser parte del equipo que se formó en Ndlon para poder ayudar a las personas damnificadas por los incendios, que prácticamente no me afectó en pérdida de vivienda, pero sí pérdida de trabajo en las dos áreas que se suscitaron los incendios. Pero a través de todo esto me ha dado fuerzas para poder ayudar y ser parte del voluntariado que se hizo para la limpieza de Pasadena, tanto de las calles como también después de la remediación, y ayudar a las personas que estaban damnificadas por los incendios y los humos y los contaminantes que existían en las casas en las que ellos vivían y fueron evacuados, y fuimos parte del alivio de limpieza para que ellos pudieran retornar a sus hogares. Una parte muy orgullosa también me siento que hemos formado una sola familia, a pesar de que venimos de culturas diferentes, de países diferentes, y ahora somos una sola hermandad y no nos importa en ver caras ni géneros ni a quién ayudamos. Nosotros solo buscamos la oportunidad de seguir ayudando personas, ya sea que lo necesiten de buena manera o de mala manera. A nosotros no nos interesa el no tener documentos en este país, ser acosados por migración donde quiera que nos encontremos, pero así seguimos batallando porque hemos adoptado este país como nación propia, siendo despojados de nuestros países por cosas políticas, y acá nos encontramos y me siento orgulloso de pertenecer a un gran grupo de personas que formamos, y gracias a la señora Angie por la oportunidad que nos dio ella también de apoyarnos en ese aspecto y seguir adelante con el trabajo de la comunidad. Les paso el micrófono a mi compañero Noé.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Noé Ramírez. Bueno, yo creo que ya todo lo dijeron ellos, ¿verdad? De lo que hemos hecho, porque pues hemos formado un grupo que, como se dice, pues hemos andado de aquí para allá donde nos han llamado, y pues y sin esperar, como dicen, pues nada a cambio, ¿va? Porque nos llaman para allá y andamos, y hemos formado un lindo grupo y que hasta la vez lo seguimos siendo. Como dijo Eduardo, somos de diferentes países, diferentes culturas, lo cual nos ha hecho como hermanos a todos, una sola familia, y seguimos aquí en pie para lo que se venga, si pues hay una nueva oportunidad de poder seguir ayudando a las familias, ¿verdad? Porque como decía aquí el compañero, fueron 154 familias a las que se les pudo ayudar en remediación y todo, limpiándoles sus casas, el cual estaban muy contaminadas, pero gracias a Angie y a todos los que han hecho posible esto también, porque pues sin ellos no fuera posible esto que se hizo, y como les digo, siempre estamos muy agradecidos con ella, porque ella pues ha formado parte del grupo, como Ndlon también y Cor también, que estuvieron ahí con nosotros ayudándonos para que se hiciera este proyecto que pues se acaba de terminar, ¿va? Entonces estamos a las esperas de que pueda surgir otra nueva oportunidad para seguir apoyando a esas familias. Gracias.
Qué hermoso.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Ramón Prieto. Yo me siento muy orgulloso de haber ayudado a toda la gente que se les quemó sus casas, fuimos a limpiárselas, gracias a Angie que nos dio esa oportunidad y estoy muy agradecido, gracias.
Okay, this is a part of the group working together in this remodelation. But this group of 35 people, I received training for this job, specifically this month, and now I received training for the soil and everything, whatever they need, the new people for help you building again the house and help you to then put it back, the families together. And it's honor for us, everybody, coming together and help you to this family. Thank you very much for everything.
My name is Paul Livingstone. I'm a lifelong musician, composer, and activist, community organizer in Altadena. And my wife and I lost our home and music studio and nonprofit office there. We run an organization called Soul Force Project, and we celebrate the relevance of nonviolence through music. And to me, Altadena is the people, the land, and the animals, because we're so up against the mountains. The animals have always been a big part of who we are as, you know, beyond the human experience. Wild animals, domesticated animals, everything. So, and we live in West Altadena, and we now live in Zorthian Ranch temporarily for the next year and a half, which has a very, for me, Altadena just has this incredible legacy of creativity and innovation and interracial cooperation and progressive thought and purposeful action. So, you know, Owen Brown is buried in our mountains, the son of John Brown, the liberator. So there's always been a spirit of unity and, like I said, progressive thought or progressive action and social action. And it feels like a small town, but it's 30 minutes from downtown LA where we are right here. So there's no other place I'd rather live, and we're definitely gonna stay because it's our home and our people, and it feels like a little microcosm of the world, or maybe the universe. So it's a very special place that we're working really hard on creating healing arts experiences for all of us to heal together through music and art and our work with Soul Force Project and collaborating with other nonprofits, which we've done for years in the community, and bringing back a sense of peace and interconnectivity, interbeing, you could say, as one of my teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, used to talk about. We're all woven together, and that's a sense of interbeing. We're interdependent on one another, just like we are with these beautiful plants. You know, we provide CO2 and they provide oxygen. So we need to be like that with the whole human race and apply the laws of love that Jesus and the Buddha taught and so many others. So there we are. We love Altadena.
So my name is Jessica Handy, and I was born in Dena, born in Pasadena. My parents brought me home to their home that they purchased as young 20-something-year-olds in 1984. And that was, Altadena was my home for the first 6 years of my life. And I have no memories, a few photos, but no memories of living in Altadena. And, but it's a beautiful full circle in that, you know, we ended up moving to Pomona after that. And so all of my early childhood through my youth, Pomona and Claremont became a part of my community, but I was called back to Dena in my adulthood to raise my children there. And I think just, I wouldn't say intuitively, just it kept calling me. Even though I didn't have much connection to or memory of Altadena, I always wanted to live there again. And I had the blessing and gift of raising my 2 boys, who are now 13 and 15, still growing, but that's all they know is Altadena. And all of their schools that they went to, from an in-home daycare called Little Bohemians to their elementary school, it was all in Altadena and all lost in the Eaton fire. All of our incredible community hubs like Rhythms of the Village, Oh Happy Day, the parks, some parks that we would spend time at, were all impacted by the fire. So that, I would say, and then many of our community members' homes, where we would break bread together and yeah, just spend time in community, just sharing stories and laughing and connecting. Many of those homes, dozens of them, I've lost count, were lost in the fire. And what I would say is, you know, I have the most incredible memories of Altadena. And what I would say, even though the fire took away the physical spaces that hold a lot of memories in my mind, the people, the essence, we're still here, and I would say it's brought us much closer than ever, because of the big disruption that took place in the community through fire, the disturbance. It had us lean on each other in a way that we didn't think we would need to lean on each other. And we've been able to hold space in a way that we didn't think we would need to hold space for. And yeah, it's stretching us in ways that are unimaginable, but it's been a beautiful gift to have the grief, have the sadness of the physical places that were lost, but also to be able to deepen our human connection, knowing that we can rebuild. It'll look different, but the people in the community are still here, still strong, and we're fighting for each other. And I don't want to, I guess, not use the word fight, but we're standing for each other in a way that community's meant to stand for each other. And it's been a hard and incredible journey all in the same. And we're a year in, and I know it's, you know, there's going to be much, it's going to take some time to continue rebuilding community. But yeah, I have faith that the community will continue to be strong for each other. Yeah.
My name is Tyler Patton. I was born in Pasadena from birth. Family is 4 generations now into Pasadena and Altadena. My grandparents, they are originally from Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, but post-World War II, they came, separately of course, they came to Los Angeles looking for, you know, a progression of life. Once they got together, they decided to take it to Altadena, because mainly the biggest reason was how strong integration was. It was one of the only cities in LA that was had an exceptional integration rate at the time, and they took advantage of that. They started family with 3 boys, 2 girls, my mother being the youngest, and my grandparents' names being Leotis Haynes Jr. and my grandmother being Martha Haynes. They did well for themselves, but ultimately beyond that, they, just like the city itself, they reflected the idea of community, the idea of synergy, the idea of togetherness, mutuality, equity. It was very much something that has been passed down not only through the community, but very much a foundational point for my family, specifically my grandmother, being the head of domestic studies and being a practitioner of the daycare at PCC. I believe she was the first African-American woman to do that at the time. taking care of all different children from all different walks of life in the community. However, 20 years prior to today, I experienced a house fire in Altadena, ironically to the one that we've all experienced together. And in that moment, my grandmother's rushing us all out the house, and I'm seeing strength externally, but I had a moment where I looked into her eyes and I really saw what tragedy felt like. I couldn't articulate it at the time, I was a child, but I really saw, you know, everything that she had worked for being ripped from her in an instant. All the family photo books, all the parties that we've thrown, the fruit trees being burned, the kitchen, all her everything, her church outfits that she had custom made, everything was gone. And the only thing she had was memories and charred photos. And even in that moment, trying to get restoration from her insurance, they were still not budging, even in that time period. So we moved to Texas. And at the time we transitioned, you know, it was as smooth as you can be in moments like that. But I always knew I was gonna come back. I always knew that California called to me, specifically Pasadena, Altadena. So when I graduated, I came back out here, went for BFA in product design at Otis College of Art and Design. Got a chance to reconnect with my family out here because obviously it splits. You know, you're not in proximity of your cousins, your aunts and your uncles. So once I got out here, I got the chance to really connect with them once again in Pasadena and Altadena. And life was pretty solid. Now here we are 20 years later, January 7th, and it happens again. And I'm communicating with my family, asking if they're safe. They evacuated. Everybody's safe, thank God. And, you know, the fire dies down. I go up there to check on my family. Everybody's good. Then I go to where the fire zone is, you know, above Woodbury and Fair Oaks and Lincoln and Harriet and Altadena Drive and Mariposa and Jesus, and all these places, and nothing's there, you know, nothing's there. Obviously there's houses sprinkled in the middle, but it's whole communities gone. People outside trying to make sense of what just happened, the legacies of their lives being ripped from them. And I'm obviously going through a traumatic event myself, reclaiming what the side of my house being burned down projected through all of this. And lastly, you see you see people crying. You're talking to people as you're volunteering, and you see that they have no hope in their eyes. They have no faith in their local government. They have no faith in anything. And then finally you see children. You see children that, for me, I seen children that were my age at the time, knowing that they have nothing and having to deal with, I guess, compartmentalized feelings that I've never really dealt with of, wow, this is what it's like having the critical analysis of an adult to look at their faces and seeing, man, you're trying to make sense of your whole life being uprooted. And it's not just a couple people, it's thousands of people of all walks and all life. And at that moment, even still to this day, I've been very, I won't say hopeless, but I've been very much questioning, what do you do? What do you do when your government and your local legislation forsakes you and you're only stuck with your community? You know, there's a lot of cameras, there's a lot of optics, but there's still a lot of people who have nowhere to go, right? Still trying to figure it out, still desperately trying to hold on to the integrated freedom that was promised to the generations before them. And then you see the other side of it, and you see the heart of what Altadena is, which is a very intentional and proactive community. You see people giving everything they have to others. You see people not even making it a question of what to do, volunteering, knowing they may not have nowhere to go, knowing that they may have to take off of work, knowing that they're not even from this community, but they see people who are in need of immediate help. And that drives me. That gives me a different type of hope. That gives me a different type of affirmation, reassurance, confirmation in what humanity is. You know, I was saying before that, you know, when you're stripped of everything, you're stripped of capital, you're stripped of your financial comeuppance, you're stripped of some people are stripped of employment because it's burned down. People are stripped of their educations, and you're stripped of your clothing, you're stripped of your foods, you're stripped of the electronics you've invested in, and all you are left with yourself, your thoughts, and the pressure of a very unsure reality. And the only thing you can look and see is your neighbor, you know, with their hand out saying, "Hey, I got you. Hey, well, how are you doing? Hey, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on here. You know what? We don't have to talk about it, actually. Let's get something to eat. How are you? What's your name?" People deeply wanting to connect. People having the deep desire to want to involve themselves in each other's life in a progressive and positive lens. You know, it's not just about positioning yourself as a savior, but it's deeply enmeshing yourself into community beyond any marginalization or predeposition of your life, you know? And I really appreciate that. I've always known that's what it meant to be an Altadenian, a Pasadena's, from Dina in general. Whether it's the Rose Bowl, whether it's a turkey tussle, whether it's a Black History Parade, whether it's anything, the Tournament of Roses, I've always recognized, you know, people here have a desire to connect, and we're seeing it in real time. We're seeing it in real time with many different businesses. I could say Fair Oaks Burger, I could say Rhythms of the Village, and many others. And I'm just very grateful to be of a place that has so much integrity that it will not sacrifice its financial equity or upward mobility in the eyes of the misfortunate, you know? It's the eyes are really to its people, and I couldn't be grateful. I couldn't be more grateful. Yeah.
Thank you all for your presence, and again, just the offering and the opening of space, Metabolic and team. Thank you for holding space in this beautiful way. It's been a gift today to hear each other, to share, to be in community, to hug, to make new friends, see some old friends, to nourish ourselves, and to really honor fire in a really beautiful way, and tell stories and share space. So we're gonna close out the day as the sun sets, and thank you, Kelly, for preparing these candles, which represent, on the day of the fire, collectively 31 community members were lost in the fire, transitioned. And so we have a candle that represents each of those individuals. And there's a candle, thank you, Kelly, for this offering that honors those who we don't know. There's many other impacted folks who transitioned. Names weren't told to the community publicly, and we want to honor them as well. And there's an additional candle for the land that holds us, that holds so much space and is a gift to all of us. And we want to, hold space and light a candle to honor all of us. So we invite you. We have a way to light the candles, and you can, once one candle gets lit, we can light them with that candle. We will have probably a few people light a couple of extra candles. And once they are lit, we will return back in circle and do a closing reflection, and then collectively make some beautiful music together to close out. So,
love, connection, beloved community,
warmth, spontaneity,
gratitude,
light,
inspiration,
hope,
support,
rebirth,
fold,
energy,
flickery,
Restoration.
resilient,
possibility,
solidarity,
yearning, strength,
mutuality,
unity, paradox, power,
fire,
connection,
kinship,